Yes, Apple has become quite topical of late. There's been a lot of discussion over specifically the need for Apple, let's say, to move its production capabilities to other markets. And to be honest, this is not the first time that the entire conversation about Apple, and to be quite frank, this is not just about Apple. This is about a large number of companies that have a concentration of their manufacturing capabilities within the Chinese market. But we go back and we look at the first trade war between China and the United States back in 2018 and 19, and this same issue had sort of come about. And, we look at something, and again, we'll use Apple as the example. Tim Cook, who's the CEO, he's an extremely intelligent man. This is clearly an issue that he's been extremely well aware of for the longest period of time. In fact, we are all well aware as well that over the course of the last several years, he's been looking to move more and more of his production into places like India. What I find is really critical about the whole issue of concentration of manufacturing in China is how this can be used as an area where the United States and China can sit down and have a more collaborative discussion, because it is beneficial for both the Chinese and for the Americans to continue along with all of the manufacturing capabilities that have been built over the past 30 years. While I think it is important for all companies to de-risk, which is a theme of mine of late, one of the things that is a challenge is trying to find locations where organizations are able to replicate the sheer size of the manufacturing that is done within China in other markets. So I view this as clearly an idea that all groups are looking for, but also I believe it to be potentially, really potentially, an area where the United States and China can sit down and come to a recognition that it is beneficial for all to be able to discuss how this relationship on manufacturing can be continued moving forward. I use an example from a recent news article that came out the other day where you look at companies right now that feel that they're under pressure to leave China and go elsewhere, and it's a bit problematic. And this one news article was discussing an American company that manufactures lighting equipment, lamps and the like, nothing necessarily as complex as an iPhone, let's say, and they moved to Cambodia. And one of the interesting quotes that was in the news article had mentioned that what had historically been a manufacturing process in China that allowed this company to deliver on a client's order in 45 days, now that they're in Cambodia, it's going to take them an extra 30 days at a minimum. So, it's going to be, I think, understandable when you move from such an efficient manufacturing market like China to somewhere like Cambodia, Vietnam, or India, which is only really in the process of building out their capabilities to manufacture. So I think having that de-risking is important, but I think it is also important to recognize that there is what we like to call a symbiotic relationship. There's a benefit to all parties if China and the United States were able to recognize that continuing to manufacture here in China for the export to the United States is something that can be discussed, and I think is a really decent platform for the parties on both sides to be able to have that discussion and come to an understanding. So it's more than just about whether Apple should leave and go somewhere else or what have you. It's more about, for me, looking at what the opportunity is and whether or not you can have two different countries benefiting from this situation, be able to have a discussion and maintain that integral part of the supply chain globally and allow everyone to benefit in the process.